Hi guys, hope you're doing well. My name is Laurie Brown, and on this channel we talk about healing from toxicity, and we want to do it in a healthy way, you guys. So if you want to know more about my story, what I've been through and how I've overcome some challenges in my life, please like, comment and subscribe, and let's get into this video. Today's video is going to be about the benefits of being single. So if you know anything about my story, you'll know that I've been through a few toxic relationships, and it's been a really difficult time because you have to relearn how to love yourself again. When you're in toxic relationships where they are full of control, you end up staying longer because you have been manipulated to a point where you don't really make your own decisions anymore. You almost take the other person's opinions and judgment as gospel, and then you feel horrible about yourself, and then you have low self-esteem to the point where you're constantly searching for answers on how to make yourself better, and this toxic person in your life now becomes the answer to everything, and it builds up a certain level of incompetence inside of you to the point where you're unable to leave. But luckily for me, I did leave. As you know, this podcast is about healing from toxicity. And so one of the things that I have done to heal is to live in my single element. I was somebody who used to monkey bar from relationship to relationship, and I didn't really get to know myself growing up in my 20s. And that is probably one of the biggest flaws that I have had, because it means that I end up being a chameleon in a relationship to the point where I am only going along with what the other person says and their plans, and there's no room for me to express myself. The danger in that is no matter what you do or what you try and hide, it will always come to light. And sometimes it may come to light in a way that you wouldn't have even imagined. It could come to light in a way of you lashing out against certain opinions that person may have, because ultimately you've just had enough and you just burst, because who you are inside will always shine. So one of the benefits about being single is that you learn to look yourself in the mirror and you actually see yourself. Can you imagine going through so much pain to the point where you look in the mirror and you feel unrecognizable? But when you start to heal and you have time to yourself, your reflection starts to appear in a different way. Because not only do you see the brokenness of who you are, you start to see how you could fix yourself together, because you understand where the real pain is coming from. You know, being single has allowed me to cook the dinner that I want to eat. And I know that sounds really crazy and extreme, and some people may roll their eyes, but it really is in the small decisions that you make where you start to see yourself again. Being single allows you to just say, actually, I don't want to go out tonight, I'd rather stay in. And when people are understanding and accepting of that, you realize that that level of honesty and part rejection to another person is something that they respect. Being single has allowed me to dream again, but dream in a realistic way about the kind of partner that I want to have. I'm no longer looking for material things. It's funny because I've always been out with people who put on this facade rather than it being part and parcel of them being hard workers. So I know that sounds disrespectful, but what I'm also going to say is that energies align. So in a time where you're unable to provide certain experiences for yourself as a woman, I was attracting that in a man. And instead of me growing towards becoming the person that I want to be, I was reliant on somebody else giving me that life, but all they could give me was a facade. So when you take steps back from a relationship, yeah, there are going to be some ugly parts about yourself that you don't like. And honestly, it can be so hard to admit that you were this type of person and you're growing through that. But it's okay, because I feel like when it comes to the truth, there is nothing better than it, because you can't solve a problem without knowing the truth about where that problem really stems from and where it lies. So being single has also allowed me to become the best version of myself. The best version of myself really has a great character rather than the things that I could obtain. But with great character comes great opportunities, and with great opportunities comes success and rewards. And as long as you're on that path to mending yourself and your character, I feel like everything else will fall into place. Another thing that has changed about me through my journey of healing and growth in my single phase is my mindset. Instead of me feeling like I can't do anything and looking at the limitations that I have in my life, I have adapted more of a growth mindset where I'm more problem solving and trying to provide solutions to the problems that I have, and looking at things more rationally when it comes to things that I can control. Because when I start to put emotion behind any decision that I make, I become so sensitive to the point where I just close up. You know, I don't do anything. I become quite dormant in my heart because it almost feels too difficult. The thought of failing can scare me so much to the point where it can drive me into a state of feeling so low. Another benefit that has come to light whilst me being single is crazy, but I want to share it with you. So I just want to go back a step. As I have been in these toxic relationships, I realised that there are certain characteristics in every single guy that I have dated that I have been attracted to or drawn to. Just for the sake of simplicity, the characteristic that I was attracted to was somebody who was more arrogant than confident. And the reason being was because I lacked it within myself so much that I needed it in excess for it to feel okay. You know, when somebody is standing up for themselves, but they're doing it to the highest heavens, to me, it felt attractive because I could never confront a situation in the way that they did. But as you grow over time, you'll realize that that behavior is quite disrespectful, and there are certain ways that you can deal with things without making other people feel humiliated. But now that I find myself healing, I feel like my vibration has changed and shifted, and the caliber of guy that I'm attracting now is completely different to the kind of guy that I was attracting before. Now, a part of me thinks, am I attracting this kind of guy because my vibration, right, and my healing? Or am I attracting a nicer kind of guy because I'm no longer attracted to the toxicity to the point where I don't see this lesser caliber of man that I used to be attracted to, if that makes sense. But either way, it's working. So this whole narrative of getting older for me and not potentially being able to have the family setup that I want as being a single mum, it's quite scary. But what I realise is that it's not worth being in a wrong relationship, because that's going to take even more time to fix. And at the end of the day, to me, happiness is ultimately the goal over having things that are so difficult to maintain. Because when you're talking about having a relationship with someone, it's not just about what that person can do. It is a lot to do with emotion. It's a lot to do with how they deal with conflict. If I have to wait until I'm in my 40s or in my 50s to have a healthy relationship, then so be it, because I've done it wrong and I know the pain and suffering that comes along with it. And I know people don't want to hear that as an outcome, but I would rather you take your time in getting to know yourself. We can never change the outcome of something when it comes to someone's feelings, but you have to make sure that you have your own armor and that you are okay by yourself and love yourself to a point where even if you end up in a bad situation, you have got the ability and you've got the courage to let go, because you know what you're deserving of. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening to my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care. Bye.